Hello guys, welcome back to our chess stream at lichess.org. So today we'll be playing a white against XIM 1420. Currently we're having a 1915 rating. So I created a new account under J Brazil. So in the future I'll be using this account going forward. So let's check out on the game. So I Today I play e5, e4. So this is a king's pawn game. Then he played the Scandinavian defense. So this is a very quick counter for the center. So d5. Then here I just take the pawn on d5. So we go to the Scandinavian defense, Mieses-Kotroc variation. I'm not really sure if I pronounce it correctly, but it is something like I think these are two Russian players Mieses-Kotroc variation. Let me know if that is the two Russian player. Comment down below. So here I play knight c3. He played go back, queen d8. He just want to exchange the pawn at the center and neutralize everything. So as you can see, this 0.7 is pretty much equal. Even though that the white has the first move advantage, that's why it's giving me a zero point 0.7. So here I played knight f3, just simple development. Here he played e6. Here I played bishop c4, knight f6, d4, bishop e7, bishop f4. As you can see, I'm just developing my two knights, my two bishop. This is standard development for beginners. So this is pretty classic development for white. So here he played castle. He didn't play castle, but the engine suggested he should castle, but he played b6 instead, in which this is what they call inaccuracy based on the engine. As you can see, b6 was inaccuracy. Castle was the correct move, and castle knight c6, rook e1, b6, a3, bishop d6, knight e5, and bishop b7 is the correct computer line. So here he played b6. Here I played uh, queen d2. This is also inaccuracy based on the engine. The the, the engine the engine was suggesting on d5 and bishop b4, and this is queen d2. He played bishop b7 and I castle. He took he took my bishop on f3. Uh, Actually, I was inviting him to take my knight on f3 because I want to attack his king with my rook on g file. This file. So I took that. Then he go for castle, and then I sidestep because rook h1 was mistake d5. But I don't really care about that one because I'm planning to attack the g file, the g file line. So here you go for knight d7. I go for rook g1. You go for g6, just defending and just making sure that my rook doesn't have a visible line contact with the g file. So here I go for rook bishop h6. I'm a bit amazed that he just played the knight a5, giving his rook at f8 for free. Then I grab the rook because it's a rook. Then a rook is a rook. So after that, even though my bishop is quite strong on h6, I intend to take the rook because in the end game, I will be in the pretty much advantage when this comes to an end game. So here he took that with his bishop. Actually, this also an inaccuracy. The right move was queen takes f8 instead, as according to engine. Here I go for queen to queen because I'm already advantage, and also I'm having a threat on taking the knight at h5. So it is open check, so he cannot take my queen. So that's my plan. Here he go for knight d f6. So he's planning to support the knight on h5. So what I did here, I put my other rook on d1, rook a d1, just protecting the center pawn and planning to push this pawn in the future. Here he played the bishop g7, which is the engine said it was a blunder. C6 was the correct move. And also after that, bishop g7. I'm not really sure why it's a blunder because after this pawn move, uh, I'm not really sure why this is blunder because also after he blunder at bishop g7, I also blunder at knight e4. So this is a blunder game. As you can see, this two question mark for white, and he put another he blunder on a6. That is two question mark. I go knight takes f6. That's check. He go for knight takes f6. I take the knights on f6. Queen on f6. So this is the exchange. We have a lot of exchange this. Then I will just simplify this game and make this in a simple win. Then he goes for knight f4. I go for rook g4. Actually, the push pawn on d5 was the best according to engine, but I didn't play that one. I'm not really sure why this d5 was never pushed in the early game until the middle game. It's now end game. It's still not. And the d pawn is the d4 pawn is still not pushed at d5. So maybe we have to play and review again that one. Why it's this d push pawn, d5 push pawn is very winning for white. I'm not really sure about that one, but life must go on. So I played. The knight goes to h3, and I played king g2, and he go for knight g5, and I think the knight is trapped because when I push that pawn, he have to sacrifice his knight for my pawn. So actually, he didn't do that sacrifice, but instead he threatened my rook at g4. So again, this is I have a threat on taking the knight. So this two pieces for a rook. So this is pretty very good for me. Then after that, this is standard already. This is a winning game already. So now finally I have pushed the pawn. I'm breaking the pawn and making my rook activates. Once my rook activates, I will dominate this line on d5, and I can easily win this game. Then after that, I make some break on the queen side. He didn't want the break, so I pushed the pawn, and this is totally winning for white. And after several moves on the white, I push the pawn further. He back up the center with his king, and I go also for my king activation. Then he go for the king. I push f4 pawn. So taking advantage of the passive rook on d8. So here he played this move f6. So I made the check here and put he put his queen in king f7, and this is totally over. Once I put my rook at e6, this is totally dominating. And after the exchange on f to g pawn, I took that, and it is totally over. So I make a check there. I put a check, and the rook is now threatened on the g8 square. And after he took the pawn, I take a check. And after that, I took his rook at g8, and this is totally over for black. As you can see, let's go back and let's review where is the mistakes on the game. So here, first of all, this is an inaccuracy. The Scandinavian and is refuted a lot of times already on the high highly ranked games. So this is not a good opening for black. As you can see, the engine is giving an accuracy after e4. You should play e5. That's the normal engine moves. I took that. So far so good. Everything is normal. And the next inaccuracy was this b6. So I think this was too premature. You can play this one, but yeah, it's too premature. And also, I have my own inaccuracy there. So queen d2. So he played bishop d7. I castle. This is a mistake according to engine. The best move was the long castle, but I did that instead. And now the castle on the king side for black is also inaccuracy based on the engine. And what else? And also the king h1 is a mistake. So I have two mistakes now. and he have actually I have three. Let's review that later. And there is another inaccuracy on knight bd7, and the g6 is also a mistake, and also the bishop takes f8 is an accuracy, and also the rook ad1 is an accuracy based on the engine. The bishop g7 is a blunder. The knight e4 is a blunder. So we blunder left and right. The a6 is a blunder, and I took the pawn. This is a mistake according to engine, and I exchanged this a mistake also according to engine. It should take the queen by knight. Uh, the c3 was a mistake. b5, which b3, knight f4 is a mistake, and the rook g4 is also inaccuracy. Knight h3 is a blunder because the knight will get trapped. So knight g5 is a blunder, and I think this endgame is pretty much easy to play because okay, the king e7 is a blunder. You should put this king on e8 instead of the e7 because of this check, and he will lose rook, his rook. Yeah. So let's check. So I played. Now I have a plus 11 rating, and I made 11, not 11, three inaccuracies, three mistakes, and two blunders. So average centipon loss is 38, while my opponent XIM 1420 is now negative 6, minus 6 on the rating. He have 7 inaccuracies, 2 mistakes, 4 blunders, and 7 average centipon loss. So basically, he has a lot of mistake, blunders, and accuracy compared to mine, compared to me. So this was a pretty good game for my new account. So J Brazil, if you want to follow my new account, guys, just follow me in lichess.org. My name is J Brazil, known for John Brazil. So I think that's the game for today. And thank you guys for watching, and have a good one, guys. Bye bye, and God bless.